Are you feeling cold, feeling not so warm and cozy from the inside? Something's missing in your life. Well, that's how I felt too, until I spent $100 and got the DREO 714 whole room heater. This thing will change, maybe not your life, but the temperature of your room, and do a pretty darn amazing job, might I add. But of course, to really spice things up, we're going to compare this $100 heater against a $400 Dyson AM09. These two devices have a lot more in common than you might expect, except for their price points, of course. And we're going to see exactly what you're getting with the DREO 714 and compare in some areas against the top of the line Dyson AM09. So let's get started. In terms of design, look, the DREO 714 has a very conventional look. It's small, it's compact, and it has a function over form mindset. You can tell it is durable, it's well built, but it looks like a typical heater. Of course, with that said, it does have a number of cutting edge features. It has a nice touch captive bar with buttons so you can control the whole function from the heater, or you can use the included remote control. And it's also worth noting you do have a digital display at the center that shows you critical information. The Dyson AM09 in contrast has a very aesthetically appealing design. Its bladeless form factor tends to put a lot of awe with a lot of people, and I get it, I really do. It's got a clean design. Of course, it also has a remote control, which is imperative because you cannot actually control the heater from the device itself. So you only have a power button there. So if you lose a remote control, you are dead out of luck until you get a replacement, making the DREO 714 far more functional. The only thing I will say the Dyson does have an advantage on is that it's got a magnetic clamp on the top, so you can actually keep the controller on the device. The DREO doesn't really seem to have a slot to keep the remote control anywhere, unfortunately. The DREO 714 truly outshines from most of the competition when it comes to heating range and effectiveness. Simply put, it has a 1500 watt DC motor, a PTC heating element, and their proprietary 3D oscillation technology, which means you get a 90-degree horizontal tilt and a 60-degree vertical tilt, which can be used simultaneously. The result is that you're able to actually heat up a room by 1 degree Fahrenheit every minute based on our real world test on a 300 square feet room. Now, in contrast to this, the Dyson AM09 doesn't have the same kind of effectiveness. While it does also have a 1500 watt DC motor and a PTC heating element, its limited 70-degree horizontal only tilt means it can only reach so much of the room at any given time, which means it takes it twice as long. So based on our test, it was only able to raise the temperature by 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit in the same 1 minute in the same conditions. Of course, it's also worth noting DREO 714's Hyperamics technology plays a huge role. It gives you instant heat within 2 seconds of turning on the device in heat mode. This is faster than any of the competition, and of course shows just how effectively they use the PTC element to make sure you get the most warmth as quickly as possible. Both the DREO 714 and Dyson's AM09 are class leaders when it comes to fan noise levels at the lowest fan setting for each respective device. The noise levels hover just around 34 decibels, give or take, which means it's perfect for whether you're trying to study or you're sleeping or you need a quiet environment in general. If you're like me, heaters can be a little uncomfortable at times in the sense that they're not always the safest product because, especially with cheaper heaters, safety isn't top of mind. But with the DREO 714, it's amazing how much stuff they've stacked into it. So you've obviously got a flame-resistant power cord, which is nice, but then you also have child safety lock mechanisms. You have tip protection, so if the device falls over, it stops operating instantaneously. But the most impressive part is that it has a V0 flame retardant rating, which means that it's extremely fireproof. If a fire does break out, it's contained, it's not ignitable. Now, the Dyson AM09 also is a pretty safe device, but it doesn't have half the safety features the 714 does. For example, it does have tip protection, but doesn't have a child safety lock mechanism. It also doesn't have a V0 flame retardant rating, so it is more susceptible to catching fire in the unlikely event the device malfunctions. All these little things definitely make the DREO 714 feel a little bit more comfortable, especially if you have more than just adults in the house. The DREO 714 does have a cool eco mode, which basically has a function to set a fixed temperature. Once it reaches that temperature, it turns off the heating element, thereby saving electricity. Dyson's AM09 also has the ability to set a thermostat temperature. Once it reaches it, it also shuts off the heating element. It is worth noting you can use them as standard fans, so you can keep the heating element off. However, the Dyson AM09 does offer a more robust 10-speed setting system versus just 3 distinct setting levels with the 714. But the DREO 714 under maximum fan settings can reach a warm air distance of up to 11 feet versus just 8 feet with the AM09. And lastly, of course, both of them do have a timer function. The 714 allows you to set up to a 12-hour timer versus 9 hours on the AM09. So here's the genuine summary, guys. The Dyson AM09 is truly a state-of-the-art heater, but the DREO 714 is as well, and it costs 1/4 the price and technically offers more functionality than the Animo 9. I'd say the biggest strength with the Dyson heater is its looks. It's aesthetically a very beautiful product, but the DREO 714 is just functionally superior. It offers a more advanced suite of safety features. It has a greater rotation thanks to the 3D oscillation system. It heats up faster, literally heats a room up faster as well, and also takes up a whole lot less space than the Dyson Animo 9. Now, with that said, while neither of these heaters will disappoint you, one of them will save you a ton of money while giving you a lot more heat and warm, cozy feelings inside. So my bet is on the DREO 714. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and sub to our channel. It genuinely means the world to me and warms me up. Catch you in the next one.